The Raven's heir. Soon as one of them's caught, another one takes his place. Hey, Harold, have you read this? Harold? 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 You hear me? This is no time for fun and games.
Calm down. I'm a copper. We're on the same side.
A copper? What are you doing here? And where's Harold?
Harold? Well, there's another guard back there unconscious. That's probably him. The Eye of the Sphinx. Where is it?
It's there.
Oh, good. Then he hasn't got it yet.
You mean the Raven's heir?
Shh! Turn it off. He's gonna steal the eye.
But how do you know?
Doesn't matter. All that matters is that we catch him. Do you understand?
Yeah, but...
Do you understand? You and me, mate, we'll be heroes. All right, now, we just have to...
What?
Halt! Stop! You're under arrest!
Hands up!
I don't have time to play. I'm on duty.
You're funny, but you don't look like a real cop. You don't even have a revolver.
What's your name, boy?
My name is Matthew Miller.
And where are you from, Matthew Miller?
From Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. But my mom and I live in England now. She's taking care of some rich old lady. We're on our way to Venice at the moment. We're taking a cruise on a big ship.
Impressive. You've already seen half the world. I've spent my entire life in Switzerland.
Must be really boring.
And what's with the gun? What do you need it for?
It's the Raven. He was gunned down, so now I need a pistol.
Dead birds don't need guns. Nor do live ones.
You don't know who the Raven is, do you? He's the greatest burglar ever. He stole paintings from the Louvre. And those priceless eggs with gold and diamonds and stuff. And Bobby Dobbs says he replaced the crown jewels with rhinestones.
I know who the Raven was. Although I don't quite buy that bit about the crown jewels. You do know, these days there are thieves far more dangerous than your old Raven. 2 days ago, a precious ruby was stolen from the British Museum. There was an explosion. A guard was severely injured.
Really?
Yeah. And you know what the papers say?
You talk too much, Constable.
Zellner, monsieur. Anton Jakob Zellner.
Or did he pull a gun on you?
No, monsieur.
Get a move on.
Inspector Legrand, it's a great honor to work with a celebrity like you.
We appreciate the support of the Swiss police. But it'd be better if you'd remain seated and keep an eye on things.
But, monsieur, surely I can be of assistance, somehow. I saw a safe being loaded.
We have everything under control. If you'll excuse me, I'll be in the first freight car at the back of the train for the rest of the trip.
I'm not here to enjoy the beautiful scenery. I am a good observer, and I have finally honed powers of deduction.
Thanks to that?
I watched the people on the platform in Zurich. I know, for example, that that man over there is a violinist.
That would be more impressive if there weren't a violin case next to him.
And I believe that the gentleman in the next carriage is a German doctor on his way to Italy to take up a new position.
And what gives you that idea?
There's the rod of Asclepius engraved on his cufflink. And he's carrying a German-Italian dictionary.
Maybe he's just taking a holiday in Italy, following in Goethe's footsteps.
Too much luggage. And no, he's not retiring to Italy either. The suitcases are too shabby for me to believe that he can afford to retire in his late 50s.
All right then, Constable...
Zellner.
Constable Zellner. If you're such a clever fellow, what am I doing on this train?
I think you're guarding something.
Oh, really? And what might it be?
Could it possibly be a jewel that's making a long and perilous journey?
You're guessing. You can't possibly know what's inside the safe.
But if that were the case...
Then I'd ask you why the train wasn't crawling with police.
It's a trap.
You've got a vivid imagination. I'll give you that. Well, that is impressive, I admit. But the fewer people involved, the better. We'll get along fine without you.
You won't.
Won't? Pardonnez-moi.
I can help. And I will help. You're in my country. And I've been ordered to assist you. And that's exactly what I'll do, whether you like it or not.
Clever and stubborn. Your commitment speaks volumes, Zellner. But this is my show, and I don't need you. Bon voyage.
But how do you know? Oh, hello.
You cheated.
I did what?
I saw you talking to the German doctor on the platform. He told you everything himself, and you were just pretending to put 2 and 2 together.
And what of it? Do you know who that is? That's Inspector Nicholas Legrand. You have to impress him if you want to work with him.
I'm going to tell on you.
You'd really tell on me? To the very policeman who shot your dear Raven?
Whoa! It was him?
Mm-hmm. Hunted and killed Europe's most famous burglar. That's how he got his start.
I won't tell him a thing.
I wouldn't either. All right, Matthew. I have to do my work now.
Everyone calls me Matt. Well, except for my mom. She calls me Maddie, as if I were a little kid.
Whether Legrand wants my help or not, I'll keep my eyes open. Maybe I can change his mind. right. Vicarage in the Mirror, a detective novel by my favorite author, Lady Clarissa Westmacott. For years now, I've been trying to convince my theater group to stage one of her plays. We Swiss are crazy about trains. We don't just have a lot of railroads, we have the most beautiful ones in the world.
Would you be so kind as to close the window? I don't want to sit in the draught.
Oh, pardon me. The violinist is a good-looking fellow, and he's traveling through the most beautiful mountain landscape in the world. But one can only hope that his violin is better tuned than he. Hello, sir.
Hello.
If I'm not mistaken, you're a violinist.
That's true.
A wonderful instrument. The violin music touches the soul.
That's why I learned to play it.
Do you play in an orchestra?
No, orchestras aren't really part of my world.
A solo violinist. The best soloists travel a great deal and make a pile of money, or so they say.
In that case, I'm probably not one of the best.
Are you traveling to Istanbul non-stop?
No. I'll transfer in Venice to a ship. I'm on my way to Cairo.
Cairo?
I'm performing at the reception in the Egyptian Museum there.
I'm sure your recital will be a great success. But tell me, did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Anything unusual?
Persons acting suspiciously, for instance.
For heaven's sake, is there cause for concern?
Everything is in order, sir. We Swiss are just very cautious people.
I understand. No, I didn't notice anything.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
Very kind of you. Thanks. Oh, pardon me.
No problem. The uniform is waterproof. Mr.
Lucio. Professor Edgar Lucio.
Oh, a professor. Are you a scientist? Do you teach at the Sorbonne?
No, I work at the British Museum in London.
You don't say. So, you were, shall we say, an eyewitness to the burglary 2 days ago?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, no?
Well, there was a lot of commotion, but I didn't really pay much attention to it.
There was a break-in in your museum, and it didn't concern you?
Well, let's just say that nothing that's happened in the last 2,000 years concerns me.
Whatever you say, the famous Inspector Legrand is on this train. I imagine you know him.
No, should I?
You don't know him? And you also don't know what he's doing here?
No. Why should I?
Just a thought. You're a representative of the British Museum. There's a guarded safe on the train.
I'm sorry. I don't know what you're trying to imply. And now, please excuse me.
May I ask where you are going?
Of course. To Venice. I'm going to meet some colleagues there.
Oh, Venice. A beautiful city, or so I'm told.
Indeed. But I really have to take my leave now.
Just one more thing. Did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Here? On the train? No. I can't say that I have. Although I did spend most of the time in my compartment.
I don't want to take up any more of your valuable time, but you do understand, don't you, that what concerns me is the present, and especially the robbery at the museum.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's just... I'm in rather a hurry.
You'll get in touch if you notice anything unusual, won't you, Professor?
Of course, Constable. What's this?
What's the matter, sir?
The door. I can't open it.
Ah, we'll sort it out somehow. The compartment is locked.
But I didn't lock it. I don't even have a key. I asked the steward. He was going to bring me one, but he never came back.
Someone locked it.
Find the steward. He needs to bring me the key immediately.
Calm down, Professor. I'll see what I can do.
You don't understand. I have to get back in my compartment.
All right, just wait here. Perhaps a thoughtful conductor noticed that Professor Lucien wasn't in his compartment and locked it. You can easily lock the compartment door from inside by turning a little knob.
But I didn't lock it.
Professor, if you had locked the door from in there, you wouldn't be out here.
That's true.
The little label on the door reads Baroness von Trebitz. Blue blood on the Orient Express. He doesn't make a very balanced impression, and he of all people isn't bothered by a robbery in his own museum.
Yes, what is it? Whoever that is, James, ask them whether they found my purse and then closed the door. The noise on this train is driving me crazy.
If I might ask you a few questions about your fellow passengers.
I thought he was looking for my purse. James, tell him to look for my purse.
The Baroness wishes that you search for her purse.
But couldn't we perhaps... All right. First, the purse. You're missing a purse. Was it stolen?
At the very least, I cannot find it, sir.
It was stolen.
When was the last time the Baroness saw her purse?
What?
In Zurich, on the platform, sir.
I just asked where you last saw your purse.
In Zurich on the platform. James, tell him that I still had it when I got out to stretch my legs.
The Baroness says...
Maybe you lost it there.
What?
The Baroness never loses anything, sir.
I never lose anything.
Very well, then. I shall be on the lookout for your purse. I will have a look around.
Thank you, sir.
I don't believe it. I never thought I'd ever meet you.
Pardon me, but we'd prefer...
It's all right, Miss Miller. I'd like to speak to the inspector.
Unfortunately, just a constable, Lady Westmacott. I'm reading The Vicarage in the Mirror right now, for the 5th time at least.
That's nice, Constable...
Zellner. Anton Jakob Zellner.
This is my companion, Miss Miller.
A pleasure. May I ask what you're doing here? Are you on holiday?
Holiday? Yes, so to speak. The first and last holiday of my life.
Madam?
I've been writing since I was a little girl. It became my job, and now I've stopped. So, this must be a holiday.
You quit writing? Impossible. I have all of your books. Your Detective Partout is my favorite character.
Then I have bad news for you. I killed the old wretch off years ago.
I don't understand.
I'd rather not discuss my work, Constable.
Oh, well, fine. As a writer, you must be very observant. Am I right? I mean, you have to study the behavior of people around you to create the characters in your novels, don't you?
I solved the mystery of human nature a long time ago, Mr. Zellner. Since then, most people just bore me.
Really? I had the impression you were eyeing me suspiciously as I came in.
What do you want to know, Constable?
Did you notice the man who just walked into the next carriage with a cup of tea?
I did. He seemed nervous. He was waiting at the bar for the steward, and since the steward never appeared, he elected to help himself. He took 2 biscuits.
He seems pretty young, but he's already a professor at the British Museum.
Interesting. I'll have to talk to him later. Just out of courtesy, of course.
Of course. Did you notice the blonde man with the violin case?
I certainly did. He introduced himself and tried to make a good impression. People like him are drawn to wealth and fame, like moths to a flame.
But his charms failed on you.
I know him by name. David Kreutzer. He was a drain on my friend's purse.
Do you think he has a money problem?
People like him always have a money problem. No matter how much you give them, they always spend twice as much and complain that they have far too little.
Did you notice anyone else? What about the doctor or the Baroness?
I notice that you've asked me about everyone, except for the inspector who went in the direction of the freight car a few minutes ago. Isn't that the Frenchman who made his name when he caught the Raven?
I wouldn't quite say caught.
Well, shot. Why don't you ask me about him and my theory about what he's doing here?
I don't think we should discuss Inspector Legrand's investigation in public.
Legrand, right. That was his name. Will he save the day again? Or will you, Constable?
There's something else. A passenger's purse has gone missing. I suppose you haven't seen it.
I'm sorry, Constable Zellner. As you know, I only deal with murder, not burglary.
Have you asked my boy yet? Maddie is good at finding things.
I'll go and do that now. Are you traveling to Istanbul, Lady Westmacott?
No, we are on our way to Venice. From there, we will take a ship to Cairo. As you may know, I have a penchant for archaeology. I fund a few excavations in Egypt. I traveled to Egypt by ship as a young woman. And now I'm doing it again as an old woman.
I see. As much as I'd like to keep talking, duty calls.
You were right.
Madam?
I did observe you as you came in. You seemed so eager.
It's been a long time since I've had a chance to prove myself, madam.
And this is it? Your chance?
I do hope so.
Then grab it. Even small people can make big changes, as my friend Ronald likes to say.
I shall do my best. Mrs. Miller made a good impression. She wanted to protect Lady Westmacott from me, a pushy admirer. Very diligent. But she does seem a little nervous and tense. I imagine she has her work cut out for her with Matt. And a difficult boss, from what they say. An extraordinary woman. Talented, intellectual, extremely rich, and the most successful writer of all time. Yet, they say she can be difficult on occasion, and that she's rather unhappy. The steward must have forgotten the toothpicks. Normally, he would offer them discreetly after dinner. I suppose the steward won't object to me having a look around in his absence. Butterscotch. I've loved them since I was a child. Their only drawback, they don't play nice with false teeth. Maybe if I just suck it. The pad on which the steward writes orders, empty. Maybe he didn't use it because there's not much to do today. I don't need the pad, but the pencil might come in handy. Perhaps he keeps the compartment keys in there. Locked. Where could he be? The drawer is locked, and the steward probably has the key. But where is he? The steward probably uses the scissors on hard-to-open packages. These days, nearly everything is sealed up tight. A colleague recently told me about dry powdered soup in small bags. I couldn't believe it. A shortwave radio. It's amazing how small these things have become in the last 10 years.
Mr.
Zellner.
Right. How can I help you?
Do you know where the conductor is?
I'd like to know that myself. I told him to search for my missing suitcase in Zurich. He hasn't got back to me yet. He's probably in cahoots with the thieves, and didn't bother getting back on the train. If we don't crack down on vermin like them, the rabble will rule the world one day.
Well, at the moment, we still don't know what really happened.
He's not here doing his job. That's bad enough.
I meant to ask, the Baroness is missing her purse.
A Baroness? This train is really full of the creme de la creme. The Queen of Crime is over there, and now a Baroness as well.
Have you seen the purse?
Unfortunately, no. Do you know Lady Westmacott? You were talking to her?
Well, I'm an admirer of her work.
Like so many others. I once read in the newspaper that only Shakespeare and the Bible sell more copies than her crime novels.
I read that too.
She must be filthy rich. As a doctor, I'd have to work 1,000 years to earn that kind of money.
Tell me, did you notice anything suspicious here on the train or in Zurich?
You mean, except for the fact that my suitcase was stolen on the platform? No. Is there any reason to be concerned?
No, just routine.
Constable Zellner, please don't think I'm naive. I spotted the inspector from Interpol. Legarde is his name, if I recall correctly.
Legrand.
If you say so. At the train station in Zurich, he put a cash box into the safe. and then kept close watch as it was loaded onto the train. Don't tell me that a man at his pay grade routinely tramps across the Alps just to keep an eye on cash boxes.
A cash box? Like the ones you'd find in safe deposit boxes?
Precisely. And I believe we both have a good idea just what's inside.
Any news about the robbery in London?
Quite something, wasn't it? It must have been professionals. The way they disabled one of the best security systems in the world. Most impressive.
People were injured.
Well, one cannot execute a robbery of that scale without collateral damage. It seems like the Raven has finally found a worthy successor. We can look forward to new and spectacular coups.
I'm afraid I won't enjoy his exploits this time around if the new Raven is so reckless.
That's your prerogative.
The cash box in the safe. What do you think it contains?
A ruby was stolen in London. One of the legendary Eyes of the Sphinx. The second jewel, an emerald, is rumored to be in a Swiss bank vault, if I remember correctly. Both jewels were supposed to be exhibited together in Cairo for the first time in 50 years. It does make one wonder.
Indeed. Your newspaper caught my eye. May I borrow it for a second?
You can take the section with the article on the burglary. You're interested in that bit, aren't you?
You caught me out.
Here you go.
Dankeschön. Auf Wiedersehen, Dr. Gebhardt.
Goodbye, Constable. It was a pleasant chat, really.
With a padlock. I suppose it contains tools for the train's crew, maybe for coupling and uncoupling the cars. At any rate, it's positioned so that it's easier to reach from the ground than from up here. Locked.
Bang! Bang!
Huh?
Don't move!
Matt, have you gone mad?
I'll shoot! Hey, my pistol!
You'll get it back in Venice. I could have fallen under the wheels.
I thought you were a ghost.
Ghosts don't exist.
They do too. One just flew past the window.
Yes, sure. Now get moving.
Oh, man.
The box is secured with a padlock. I won't be able to open it without a key. I strongly suspect that the door is locked. No, it's open. Hello? Wow.
Don't move a muscle, you feathered fiend.
Put the gun down, Robert. If I may introduce Constable Robert Oliver from the Yard. And this is the revered Constable Zellner of the Swiss police, who obviously couldn't control his curiosity.
Then I was right. You really do want to lure someone into a trap.
That's none of your business.
Perhaps that someone recently struck in London.
And how would I bait my trap then?
With an eye? An eye on its way from Zurich to Cairo?
Someone has done his homework. Well done, Constable.
I hope you'll acknowledge that I, as a Swiss policeman, can undertake investigations in my own country.
Are we still in Switzerland?
I could be your eyes on the train, as long as you're here in the freight car.
Oh, really?
What do you know of this Raven's heir?
He tried to blow me up.
Robert, we don't know who we're dealing with yet.
In any event, the new Raven is a more dangerous man than the old one.
How do you know it's a man? It could just as easily be a woman.
Or several men.
And anyway, how do you know that it's a new Raven?
Monsieur?
Never mind.
There is a certain Professor Lucien on the train. He's an archaeologist from London.
And what's his story?
Well, it seems someone locked him out of his compartment.
Locked him out?
Well, yes. The door is locked and he's standing outside without a key.
Was it locked from inside?
It may have been. Do you think the locked door could be important?
Professor Lucien plays an important role in this story. Well then, Constable Zellner, be my eyes and ears on the train and see that Professor Lucien gets back into his compartment. Report back to me when you're through.
My pleasure, monsieur. And then there's the Baroness. She's missing her purse.
Baroness von Trevitz. Interesting.
Indeed, sir.
But it has nothing to do with our case.
So I shouldn't concern myself with the matter?
Why not? It's your job as a policeman. But don't expect me to be particularly interested in a lost purse.
I'll go attend to the door now.
Good. And, Constable Zellner?
Yes?
Don't bother us unless you have something new to report.
Of course. A thief might get anxious if there's too much activity in the freight car.
Exactement. Knock twice. Then we'll know that it's you.
Understood. An investigation on behalf of Legrand that takes me one step closer. If I can convince him of my competence, I might even be able to see this case through to the end. Who'd have thought that one day butterscotch would remind me of my age and of all the things I had to leave behind?
Oh, Constable?
Yes, ma'am.
My son didn't make any trouble for you, I hope. It's just that he just walked past us, silent and seething. That's usually a sign that someone's laid down the law.
I'm afraid so. He played a trick on me, a rather dangerous one. The lad left me no choice but to take away his wooden pistol as a punishment.
I understand. And thank you. Matty is a very lively child. Sometimes he needs a strong fatherly hand.
Where is Matt's father, if I may ask?
He's gone.
Ah, I understand.
Could you, leave Matty's pistol here, perhaps? So you don't have to bother with it?
Of course. I told him he wouldn't get it back until Venice.
Very well. Thank you again, Constable.
Baroness seems to have a special personality. I better not bother her until I find her purse. Professor Lucien?
Yes? Do you have the key?
Actually, I want it.
Please. I have to go back to my compartment.
I don't believe that... It's no use. The bolt is too short to get a good grip on it. Should I ask for an autograph? That will be quite unprofessional. But on the other hand... Hello, Matt. Oh, come on. Are you going to be angry with me for the rest of the trip?
Until I get my pistol back.
I gave it to your mother.
Oh, man. Couldn't you have just raked me over the coals?
Would you have learned anything from that?
I didn't learn anything from this either.
Come on, Matt. Did you really think that you can ignore me for longer than I can ignore you? I'm Swiss. It's practically a national sport. The large map shows the different routes of the Orient Express. This train began in Paris and ends in Istanbul, as usual. Unfortunately, it will make most of its journey without me. This is the first car. The coal tender should be directly beyond this door, and in front of it, the engine. If I may trouble you once more. A passenger is missing her purse. Perhaps you've seen it.
So, there are thieves on the train.
It's been missing for some time now. Probably since Zurich.
The Swiss don't let go of money easily, do they? Oh, pardon me. No, I haven't seen the purse.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Lady Westmacott.
Constable Zellner, how can I help you?
I was wondering if you might...
Sign your book, Constable Zellner?
If it isn't too much of an inconvenience.
Of course it's an inconvenience, but only a small one. You are welcome.
Thank you so very much. Another time. Farewell, Lady Westmacott.
Constable?
Mrs. Miller?
Yes?
Did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Oh, I'm afraid not. I was totally focused on my work.
She's always got an awful lot to do, my Mary.
You have to tell me if that's not all right with you.
Good Lord, child. Knit as much as you want.
So, nothing out of the ordinary?
No, Constable.
Goodbye, Mrs. Miller.
Goodbye, Constable.
Luna's Drops, the calming herbal liqueur for women. A glass a day. It relaxes the nerves and maintains domestic tranquility. Luna's Drops, if you don't want to bother your husband. A story about the upcoming Oscars and Cleopatra's chances of winning. An incredible feat. They built the largest movie set of all time in Rome. And because of the main actress's many illnesses, several changes of director and months of delays, cost shot to over $40 million. The most expensive movie ever made. A record never to be broken. Let's see if there's any news. Blah, 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 blah. Eye of the Sphinx. One of two priceless jewels. Extraordinary pure ruby. 2000 BC, etc., etc. Old news. And here, shocking burglary. Professional thieves surprised by museum guard Charles Langley and Constable Robert Oliver of Scotland Yard. Explosion. Constable Robert Oliver from Scotland Yard. He was there when the first eye was stolen. Now he's guarding the second one. John Surtees won the Formula One World Championship for the first time on Saturday. He also won the World Championship in motorcycle racing, making him the Too loud, too... Constable Anton Jacob Zellner, whose time shall surely come. Clarissa Westmacott, DBE. I need a bit of wire or something like that to pick the lock. I'll leave the scissors here. If I need them, I know where to find them. The box is secured with a padlock. I won't be able to open it without a key. Inspector Lebron?
Anything to report?
Constable Robert Oliver. Is it possible that I read your name in the newspaper?
Could be, sir. Could very well be.
Robert was there when the first eye of the Sphinx was stolen.
Why were you in the museum? Did you spot something from outside?
Well, sir, I noticed that a door was ajar, which was suspicious, and it was my duty to investigate, sir.
Scotland Yard gave him a commendation and assigned it to me as a liaison.
A great honor, sir.
I'll get back to work now.
Good.
Is too short to get a good grip on it. I'm at a loss without a key or a proper tool. Matt is digging in his heels. I won't get anything out of him as long as he's angry with me. Matt is digging in his heels. I won't get anything out of him as long as he's angry with me. I have no reason to bother the violinist. He can stay in the stuffy if he prefers. The train covers a distance of more than... in many... There could be many reasons for the violinist's shaking hand. Strained nerves, an illness. My money's on alcohol. It wouldn't be the first musician who ruined his career that way. The violinist is a good-looking fellow, and he's traveling through the most beautiful mountain landscape in the world. But one can only hope that his violin is better tuned than he. Need the right key or a proper tool to get the door open. The ladder leads up to the roof. It will be suicidal to climb up there while the train is at full speed. The wind, the tunnels... No, I'll stay down here. The box is secured with a padlock. I won't be able to open it without a key. Inspector Legrand was quite clear. I'm only to enter the freight car if there's news to report. It's uncomfortable for her when I talk to her in front of Lady Westmacott. She seems to take it as an inappropriate distraction from her work, although she's just knitting. Taking up a craft like that is typical of women who were told as little girls that idleness is a sin. I think it's uncomfortable for her, although she's... Mrs. Miller made a good impression. She wanted to protect Lady Westmacott from me, a pushy admirer. Very diligent. But she does seem a little nervous and tense. I imagine she has her work cut out for her with Matt. And a difficult boss, from what they say. Like a butterscotch?
You think you can bribe me?
I have no reason to. You made trouble and got punished for it. Take it as a peace offering.
Just 4?
If I'm faster than you, there'll only be 3.
Hey!
Friends again?
Mm-hmm.
All right then. And no dangerous nonsense anymore.
Okay.
Tell me, have you seen the steward anywhere?
No. He was walking around a little while ago, though.
Hopefully they didn't forget him in Zurich.
What's he supposed to do?
I'm looking for a key to open a compartment door.
Did you check his things behind the counter?
I'm sure the drawers will be locked.
Can't you break it open? Or pick the lock like the Raven?
Perhaps. But I'd need a piece of wire or something like that.
Ask my mom. She has a lot of hairpins. She doesn't like the wind messing up her hair.
Thanks for the tip. Your mother is Lady Westmacott's companion, correct?
Yeah, but it's not like you think. At first I thought, boy, you must be really wicked if you need to pay for friends. But the lady's really okay. A bit odd and really old. But other than that, she's great. She likes me.
The lady has peculiar taste.
Hey!
You and your mother, do you both live on Lady Westmacott's estate?
I'm only there for the holidays. Most of the time I'm at boarding school.
I imagine that's not very pleasant.
No, it's fine. I have friends there. You always have to be so quiet in the lady's house, and I'm not allowed to bring any friends.
Such a big house with so many places to hide, and no one to play hide and seek with.
You said it.
And how long has your mother worked for the lady?
2 years.
And your father? What does he do?
He stayed home. I used to go fishing with him, and hunting. He even let me shoot a real gun.
And then?
Then Mom fought with him, and he left. I was 7.
Oh, and how old are you now?
In 8 months, I'll be 9 years old.
And do you already know what you want to be when you grow up? A burglar?
No, we'll see. Maybe an actor.
Really? Well, I don't know. You need a lot of talent for that. I'm an actor in a theater group, you know?
You are?
Oh, yes. And I'm one of the best in our group, if I may say so. I get really deep into my roles, you know? I don't just talk like the character. I think like him. I become him. It's the only way to... Matt, are you okay?
I think you just have to be good at copying things to be an actor.
That wasn't bad. Disturbing, but not bad. The Baroness in the second compartment over there is missing her purse. Do you have any idea where it could be?
Do I ever? That guy over there with the violin case?
What about it?
He picked up something in Zurich and put it in his violin case.
Really?
Yeah, and he made sure that nobody saw him.
You saw him?
Uh-huh.
Did you also see what it was?
Nah, not really. But now that I think of it, it must have been the Baroness's purse.
I should look into it, shouldn't I?
I think so.
So long.
So longer.
The violin case looks pretty old, but that doesn't say anything about the quality of the violin. The best violins are often in the oldest cases. Excuse me, sir. About the purse.
Ah, yes? Has it been found?
Someone saw you with your violin case on the platform in Zurich.
What's the meaning of this? I didn't steal anything.
Nobody said you did. I just wanted to ask you whether you might have noticed anything on the platform.
Ah, well...
Why did you think I was accusing you?
Well, I thought... because you mentioned my violin case in the context of the purse.
Apropos, may I have a look at your violin? It must be a very extraordinary piece.
Oh, that's not possible. It's a genuine Guarneri.
Very valuable.
Very. And also very sensitive.
What could harm it here? Light? Air? May I ask you to open the violin case?
No, you may not. I'm not guilty of anything.
I'm afraid I have to insist.
Then I'm afraid you need a warrant. I will not stand back and let you rifle through my belongings.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
I bought it last week at a flea market. I like it because it tells a story. I suppose the previous owner bought himself a newer one. This one still works just fine, though. There are thousands of things I would like to ask her, but nothing would justify neglecting my duties here on the train. Mrs. Miller?
Yes?
Please excuse my unusual request, but Matt said you have some hairpins. Could I borrow one?
One of my hairpins?
It's a long story. It would be a big help.
Well, if you really need one.
Go ahead, Mary. The constable won't do it any harm, will you, Mr. Zellner?
Of course not, madam.
Is this one okay?
It'll do nicely, madam. How very kind of you. Goodbye, Mrs. Miller.
Goodbye, Constable.
I need a bit of wire or something like that to pick the lock. And suddenly, it's me who's the thief on the train. Oops, that was easier than expected. Batteries, a toothbrush, shaving brush. But not the key to the compartment door. Just this one. Too small for the door, but it might still be useful. There we go. This should help. Pills for my heart. I'm supposed to take one if I have trouble. My daughter insisted that I take them with me. She was strongly against this little adventure, but I wasn't about to change my mind. The bolt is too short to get a good grip on it, but it should work with the pliers from the toolbox. I bet I could really get a grip on the bolt with these.
Well, come on then, hurry up.
Hello?
I barely left the window ajar.
Nothing to see.
Ah.
Are you okay?
Yes, fine.
Do you have any idea why the door was locked?
I don't know. Maybe the constant vibrations caused the lock to lock itself.
You can't possibly believe that.
Well, then what's your theory?
The conductor could have locked it from the outside. On the other hand, it could have been someone here in the compartment who locked the door from the inside.
Who? And where have they gone?
They could have climbed out there.
Who would be that insane?
You tell me, Professor. So, what are you hiding in your bag? What do you have that would be worth stealing?
No, Nothing.
No valuables?
Certainly not. Not on my salary.
It was enough for a first-class compartment on a luxury train.
That's my business.
You're playing a dangerous game, Professor Lucien. I'd like to look around a bit.
Of course.
Assuming there really was someone in the compartment, and he climbed out the window, where's he gone? I really wonder what the professor is hiding from me. But I can't just rifle through the luggage of innocent citizens. This is the 60s. What's this?
What do you have there?
It's a button. From a suit or a uniform, I guess.
The burglar might have lost it.
Maybe. Or maybe not. If I notice anyone with a missing button on his jacket, I'll ask him about it. But I wouldn't get my hopes up. If there was a burglar, he climbed out the window and jumped off the train. Wow. You have a very nice fountain pen. Privacy.
If you'd managed to decode hieroglyphics that boggled the best minds of the last 3,000 years, you'd have received a gift like that as well.
Bible, Grimm's fairy tales, Moby Dick, and gin, whiskey, and rum. All classics. No, nothing interesting. Did the burglar leave any clues? Here's something. Might be fingerprints. Professor Lucien?
Yes?
Godspeed, Professor Lucien.
Thanks.
The good professor is hiding something. It would be good if I could find out more about him. Matt says the violinist put something in his violin case on the platform. Seems suspicious somehow. The question is, how credible is a statement from an imaginative boy? All right, Matt. Tell me now. The violinist won't let me check his violin case.
Of course he won't. He's hiding something. Should I distract him? Then you can have a look at his case.
What do you suggest?
I could tell him there's a suitcase full of money in the next carriage. If he's a thief, he'll definitely want to take a look at it.
I don't think he'll fall for that.
Or I could insult him and then run away. He'll try to catch me, and you'll have a chance to look in that violin case.
Now that I think about it, this is something I have to attend to on my own. It would be expecting a bit much from a little boy.
Little boy? You must be kidding.
Sorry, Sheriff, but your idea about distracting him is good all the same. So long.
So longer.
violinist is uncooperative. I'm not authorized to search his belongings against his will and without a good reason, and he knows it. I have to come up with something. The Baroness seems to have a special personality. I better not bother her until I find her purse. You're not alone on this train. I want the window open.
Swiss politeness doesn't seem to be what it used to be. I'm not going to catch a cold because of you. Go somewhere else if you don't like it.
Makes no sense. The violinist would close the window immediately, and I wouldn't have enough time to search his violin case. That makes no sense. The violinist would close the window immediately, and I wouldn't have enough time to search his violin case. I've no idea what I'd say to Matt. Matt says the violinist put something in his violin. I think the violinist is high, but to be sure that Matt was right, I have to get a look in the violin case. How can I do that without the violin? That makes... We Swiss are crazy. We don't just have a lot of railroads. We have the most beautiful...
Pardon me, sir.
We could have used you a few minutes ago. I'll leave the scissors here. If I need... I'd better let him read his newspaper if I don't have any pressing questions. There are thousands of things I would like to ask her, but...
Professor Lucien.
Door is open. How can I help you, Constable Selma?
I'd like to have a look around the compartment.
Oh, of course.
They're tough to make out, but I do believe there are some prints on the window. If I had a forensics kit, I could make the prints visible with carbon powder. Pills for my heart. My daughter in, but I wasn't. Goodbye, Professor.
Goodbye.
Violinist, I had... The Baroness seems... I better not... There are, but nothing would justify neglect. Mrs. Miller?
Yes?
Thank you for your hairpin, Mrs. Miller. It really got me out of a jam.
Oh, really? That's good to hear. And thank you for bringing it back to me. Not everybody would have.
I'm a Swiss policeman, madam. I couldn't do otherwise even if I tried. Goodbye, Mrs. Miller.
Goodbye, Constable.
I'd better... I have everything I need. Inspector Legrand?
Anything to report?
I got Professor Lucien into his compartment using a pair of pliers.
Did you notice anything inside the compartment?
The window was open. Someone could have climbed out.
And the professor?
Acted suspiciously. He rummaged around in his leather bag.
And?
He seemed to have found what he was searching for.
Good. Good work.
Now, perhaps you could give me some information.
All right. We should...
What? The light's gone out.
Flashlights! Ah! Get off me!
There, sir. An envelope.
My dear Nico, you should take a closer look at the box. R.
What the dickens?
It's a...
Away with it! Take cover!
Oh, dear. Oh.
Is everyone all right? Are you hurt? Quick thinking. Well done, Zellner.
I think the tunnel collapsed.
Then he's trapped. Hurry, we have to lock the second exit.
Sir, there's a fire up ahead. The engine's burning.
It's a distraction. Hurry, block the exit.
But sir...
The fire will consume all the oxygen.
He's right, Inspector. A fire in a narrow tunnel is extremely dangerous.
Merde. Go to the front of the train, find the engineer, and tell him to move the train out of the tunnel.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready? You have to uncouple the freight car. You understand?
I understand.
I'll see to the passengers. They should all wait in the tunnel. We'll check each one in turn as they go out.
Let's get to it. My God, what a fire. I hope Constable Oliver can at least reach the engine. The inspector's trap failed. The thief must have got wind of it. Worse than that, he turned the tables. To win a game of cat and mouse, you have to know who is the cat and who is the mouse. The wheels came off the track during the explosion. Even if it were possible to pull the car out of the rubble, you wouldn't get far with it. I'm sure I could uncouple the car if I only had enough light to see what I'm doing. I bought it last week, second-hand. I liked it because it seems to tell a story. It was... Carling Black Label. No good. Insufficient alcohol content. For practical purposes, I mean, not for drinking. Champagne. The finest. Maybe we'll open a bottle if we get out of the tunnel alive. Until then, though, it's no use to me. Whiskey, scotch, rum, liqueurs. Enough to entertain everyone on the train all the way from Paris to Istanbul. High-proof rum. Could be useful. Rum from Austria. Believe it or not, it's 80% alcohol by volume. There's no way anyone would drink it straight. A lot was damaged by the sudden stop, but the bowl was thick enough to survive the fall. I filled the bowl about a third of the way with rum. Phew, strong stuff. Rum from Austria. Believe it or not, it's 80% alcohol. The other passengers, if I don't hurry up... I filled the bowl about a third of the... Phew, strong stuff.
Pardon me, I did not mean to scare you.
What are you doing here, Doctor?
Legrand asked me to check whether there are any passengers left on the train.
Really? No one is here, except for me and you.
Excellent. Then I will continue searching at the front.
Did anyone act suspiciously before the explosion? Did anyone leave their seat, for example?
I was the only one on the train who wasn't seated when the freight car exploded. Thank God. Otherwise, I would have been caught by the blast as well.
You certainly were lucky.
Perhaps I was. What happened over there? The inspector said something about gas canisters that exploded.
He didn't want to scare you. The truth is, it was a bomb meant to kill him and the Bobby.
My God. An attack? But who would...
The investigations are ongoing, but first we have to get the burning train out of the tunnel.
Oh, of course.
How are the passengers?
They are in a state of shock, of course. The blackout and the sudden stop were frightening enough, but then the explosion... The dust. Everyone rushed for the exits. I was helping the American woman bring Lady Westmacott to safety. They are waiting outside in the tunnel. One entrance is blocked by a fire, and the other one seems to have collapsed.
Continue to search the train. I'll decouple the buried freight car.
All right.
Doctor? Can you give me a few matches?
Oh, certainly.
Thanks. I'll meet you outside.
Do hurry.
I don't see Legrand or the constable, but I can make out the silhouettes of some of the passengers. They seem to be unscathed. All the same, the fire is getting bigger, and I don't have much time. The chair either fell over thanks to the sudden stop, or an escaping passenger knocked it over. Wanting to get off the train as quickly as possible after a sudden stop and a massive tremor, that's understandable. I noticed the extinguisher earlier. Doesn't match the decor. I suppose that the railway company had to comply with safety regulations at the cost of aesthetics. It'd be useless against the fire out there, and it's too cumbersome to carry around. At best, I can use it here. All right, let's go. That should do it. I filled the bowl about a... strong stuff. The material won't be able to soak up any more alcohol. The material won't be able to soak up... The material won't... Just as I expected, the alcohol burns with an almost invisible flame. The flame is hot, but it's no use as a light source. Some matches, and half of the book to get the flame going. The flame is hot, but it's... I bought it last week. Second, it was set. The flame is hot, but it's no use as a light source. I shouldn't be wasteful. One burning match should be enough. The alcohol on the curtain burns just as darkly as in the bowl. It's no help. The alcohol on the curtain burns just as darkly as in the bowl. It's no help. That should do it. Some matches, and half of the book to get the flame going. I bought it last week, second-hand. I liked it because it was... I bought it last week. It was set aside for a new... The flame is hot, but it's not... The alcohol on the curtain burns just as darkly as in the bowl. It's no help. I should concentrate on uncoupling the freight car. I'm positive that Legrand has everything else under control. flame is hot, but it... That should do it. I expect the rum will burn like ethanol, but I better not test that theory in the bottle. The alcohol burns with a dim blue flame. It doesn't shed enough light and will probably burn out in a few seconds. Won't solve my lack of light. I'll have to try something else. I expect the rum will burn like ethanol, but I better not test that theory in the bottle. The flame is hot, but it's no use as a light source. That should do it. The material won't be able to soak up any more alcohol. Some matches, and half of the book to get the flame going. The alcohol on the curtain burns just as darkly as in the bowl. It's no help.